Hello, patrons. It's Monday, April 11th, and this is your Cup of Jones. Cheers. We're on the couch this week, moving around. You never know where we're going to wind up in the garage. We're on the couch because we have a couch. The couch is very comfortable. I enjoy sitting on the couch. Thank you for your support of the couch. Now the couch can support us. This is a patron couch. You guys bought this couch. So thank you very much. This was our second stretch goal that we hit very quickly. And it has certainly added a lot to the shows that we've produced. So I'm glad I could give the couch some time, some camera time here on Cup of Jones. But we got some stuff to get into. First of all, I love pointing out that I have to throw this show together just by myself. I don't know if you guys knew that, but nobody's behind the camera. Nobody helps Smith set this up. Nobody edits it. I kind of like that though, because it's just the two of us. It's just you, our patron, and me, the editor-in-chief of the Easy Allies. We're just here talking about Easy Allies, talking about Patreon, talking about what's happening in the world of Easy Allies for the week. So I like that it's just a simple one-on-one between you and myself. Nobody has to get involved in this. If the production's values suffer, then that's just the way it's got to be. But I love pointing out that, I grab a table last week. I'm just like, oh, I need my cup. I kind of like to have the cup in frame, so maybe I'll grab another table. And I grabbed, admittedly, a super flimsy table that I had to kind of support when I put the cup on it. And I'm just like, nobody's going to comment on that table being flimsy, are they? Of course they do. Nobody's going to comment that Jar Jar's just hanging out in the background of the shot. Of course they are. So thank you guys for watching the show, and thank you for pointing out all of that stuff. Let's get into feedback. Allard says, say Brandon, can you please center balance the audio next episode? I use headphones, and it's kind of annoying to have your voice mainly in the left ear, and inconsistent with the video since you're in front. Allard, you are absolutely right. Thank you for that critique. I would like to point out how awesome it is that we have fans of Easy Allies that leave amazing critiques like that. That is a very specific technical critique. That is something that I think I did in the first episode, but maybe I didn't in the last episode. The audio could totally be centered. My bad. Sorry. Anderson Santos says, Ian said it on his show that he didn't want to make something complicated because he didn't know if he'll have time to do it every week. Does it mean the Easy A crew will be a side thing for him and others, like some of you will have other jobs? Most, if not all of us, will have other jobs. We are working with the budget that we have in April to figure out which, if any of us, can work full-time for Easy Allies. That means that is all that person is doing. That means the person is committed. And one thing that you guys have to remember, if you work in production, that means that not only do I not have a job right now, I won't be looking for a job. So that's kind of where a lot of us are. A lot of us work in production. A lot of us, have done freelance work in the past. And so a lot of us are able to work on a project temporarily and then move on to something else. And some of us have done that in the meantime, to make ends meet, in between, the thing we used to have in Easy Allies. And so it has to be part-time for all of us. I'm sure you guys realize that we've had tremendous success on Patreon, but that money is not going to support any cast of 9 people full-time. So yeah, we have to account for the fact that some of the people are not going to be working on this full-time, which is tricky as far as how much everybody's getting paid, how much everybody is contributing their time, and how much people are willing to promise that they are going to do month by month. So basically what Ian is saying is that Ian is very busy. Ian is a very talented, creative fellow who has lots of fun projects that he's working on right now, and some of those don't have anything to do with Easy Allies, and so he's just being realistic and has kind of sliced his own little pie of production time and expense for him to work on, and if he has more time to work on Easy Allies in the future, then he'll spend that time and work on it more. If not, then he'll continue to work on what he's working on when the time that he has. Douglas points out, I was surprised at how you refer to him as Mr. Bossman and pointedly avoid mentioning his new YouTube show by name or even acknowledging that it's already started. It gives me the impression that there may be some bad blood over that decision of his, like you're avoiding mentioning his show because you view it as competition somehow. Kyle has a new show. It's called Bossman at Home. He's already doing it. I didn't not mean to mention it by name or mention that he'd already started production. One thing that y'all need to keep in mind is that I've actually done not the best job updating you guys so far on the stuff that we're doing, because I'll find out about something and then I'll rush to tell you guys because I'm excited about it, and then that ally will reach out to me and say, no, that's not what the show's called. No, we're not shooting it that way. So you guys are getting the update, but it is the current update. And at the time, I just hadn't done the research to write down specifically what Kyle was calling his show, and that he had already started producing it. It's called Bossman at Home. Kyle is already producing it. You can follow him on Twitter, and you can go find find out where his channel is and go watch that show. I support Kyle in everything that he does. I don't want any suggestion of bad blood out there between Kyle and the allies. There is no bad blood. One of the things that you also need to realize is that producing our weekly podcast is a lot of work. You need to figure out what headlines we're going to talk about. You need to, produce everything going up into actually posting that channel, posting that video to the channel. You got to, get your thumb together, the description and everything, just to make sure that it keeps on schedule every week. And that doesn't mean that Kyle couldn't do his show and the podcast at the same time. He just didn't know. None of us knew really what we were going to be able to do with the amount of time that we were all allocating for ourselves. So I think Kyle was just playing it safe in regards to what expectations would be surrounding his new show. He knew he didn't have a stage. He knew he didn't, potentially have some of the same equipment that he had going into it. And so I think adding it to the Easy Allies name kind of sets it as a standard amongst all the other stuff that we're doing. And he wanted to be able to focus on something that he knew he could deliver the way he wanted to deliver it, which is our podcast, which I think he's done a great job on so far. So yeah, there's no bad blood. There might be me just not doing research. That might be all that is. Patricia asks, great to hear upcoming things, Brandon. Can't wait. I know that retrospectives and the D-files are on their way, but will you make room for top 10s as well? If so, will you do remakes on your much earlier ones or do completely new ones? Patricia, I am sorry. We will not be doing countdowns. For the foreseeable future, I'll explain why. Countdowns are a group effort. Countdowns were possible because we worked in an office, because we could get together and, yell at each other at the beginning of the week and then spend that week gathering the resources needed for the video and then spend, sometimes one very hurried day, but hopefully at least 2 days cutting the video, producing a nice countdown every week and then throwing that up. The other thing about Countdown was that it was one of our most regularly well-performing shows. So outside of reviews, it was one of the shows that did the best for us in terms of traffic. And when you were set up financially the way that we were before, traffic was absolutely everything. Traffic was very, very important. Traffic was a metric that I paid very close attention to the point that if we did a countdown that did not do well, we would look at it and say, why didn't that do well? Let's make sure we never do that again. And so, a lot of the times we were picking countdown topics because we thought they would earn well, not necessarily because that was an opinion we wanted expressed or that was a funny idea that we thought that our audience would like. We wanted views, and that's why we kept doing the countdown. Countdown's very difficult, especially in the structure that we are right now. It would add a considerable amount of production time to produce that every single week, even not to produce it every week, maybe every other week. So a countdown was something that was born of the office of GameTrailers.com. We are not in that office anymore, so it's very difficult for us to do that. But I appreciate that you like countdowns. I'm sorry we did so many of them and then just abruptly stopped doing them with Easy Allies. I won't say that we'll never do them ever again, but I would not expect them soon. Shane Sanders asks, have you and the crew discussed and or found a solution to accepting and applying free user-created artwork for your merchandise yet? Basically, we take your art, we put it on stuff, we sell it, you make money, we make money. Sounds great. There's a lot of paperwork involved. There's a lot of work that we need to do on our end before we can figure out the best way to do that, the best way to make sure that you are being compensated enough, the best way to make sure that it's worth our time to be setting stuff like that up. In the meantime, we are going to try to set up a social media page where you guys can go and check out all of the art. If you follow us on Twitter and of course Patreon, you can get more updates on that. But we not only get a lot of great art, we've gotten a lot of amazing art since we started the Easy Allies. We love this stuff. We love your support of the Allies and Tabletop Adventures and other stuff that we're doing of our streams and everything. That would be great if we could make that happen where we kind of all share in the happy merchandise pool of revenue coming in. But like I said, it's just a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of busy work. So it's something that we haven't figured out yet. Probably something we won't figure out before the next Cup of Jones. But sounds wonderful and is something that it would be wonderful if it existed, but we can't promise it yet. Anders L. Green Hansen brought up a really good point. I'm just going to grab a sentence from it that kind of roughly sums it up. My fear is that you're stretching yourself too thin because of the beefy streaming schedule and that your video content then suffers because of that. So Al Green is a longtime fan and is expressing a concern that we're doing too many streams and not enough shows. And Anders, thank you for bringing that up. That's a very good point. What you have to keep in mind is that streams are so much easier to produce than shows. streams, you need to figure out what game you want to stream. You need to figure out audience involvement. You need to make sure you have the game, that you have time to do it, that you're not, interrupting somebody else on the Easy Ally schedule, and then you jump in and you stream. I knew it was something that each ally was going to be able to do from their house. They were going to be able to set it up. They weren't going to need equipment from anybody else past, obviously buying that equipment with Patreon money. And then they could just go do it. A lot of the streams that we have done so far, because my focuses have been elsewhere in Easy Allies, I've missed. I haven't seen a lot of the streams that we've done, whereas I would never want to not see a show that we put up. Shows, are something I obviously want to be way more focused on. Shows are not something that I would want to be automated. I don't want shows to just happen. I want to be more involved in them. So, shows do take a lot of work. Shows do take, especially considering that we have to adapt a lot of the old shows that we were doing into a new format. And so it's kind of tricky to figure out how we're going to do that, and how you can make a show when people aren't together. Tuesday nights seemed like a logical time in all of our schedules to get together, make sure we do at least one group stream a week, and make sure to shoot our podcast, and potentially in the future, if we have time, to shoot a couple of editorials each week. And then that's kind of where our main show schedule was born from, and then everyone else is kind of, on their own to produce their shows when they have the time. So again, long story short, shows do take a long time to produce. There were shows that we were doing like Trailer Score and Countdown and Just Played back at GT that were very easy to produce because it literally was, hey Ian, you ready? Can you shoot something? Hey Kyle, you want to talk about Pokemon for a second? Okay, let's go. And then boom, we have a show. And now it's, okay, Ian, what are you doing Thursday? Okay, Kyle, okay, you're busy Thursday. What about Saturday? And so it's tricky to really set up a core stream schedule. So it's tricky to set up a core shoot schedule and get everybody on board for that to be able to produce the amount of shows that we were doing before. So I know it seems like when you're like, God, they're streaming all the time, but they're not producing enough shows. The streams are clearly getting in the way. The streaming more than we did before is not taking up a ton more of people's. Streaming more than we did before is not taking up a lot more time than it did before. It might seem that way to you, but on our end, it isn't. And on our end, we are not working on Easy Allies yet as much as we were on GT, which is why you haven't seen a lot of the shows. Or the regularity of shows that we were used to before. Thank you for that comment. Please post stuff like that. I want to know what you guys are frustrated about. I appreciate all of the well wishes and all the positive vibes, but this is the time for criticism as well. So please let us know the things that you don't like about our new channel, and if we can't change them right away, we at least know where you stand, so we can hopefully change them in the future. Dominic asks, what was it like combining your home environment with your work environment? What are the pros and cons about a setup like that, and do you miss having an office to go to? I don't miss the commute. I hate having a long commute. I hate it so much. I really want to live as close to work as I possibly can. So that's nice. It's nice that I just, walk from my house to my garage, and we shoot stuff in here. At the same time, the hardest thing about doing something from home is allocating the time to do it. Is saying, well, I'm home, so I have all these chores I have to do at home, and there's my dog. I like playing with my dog, and maybe I'll go on a walk. Oh yeah, there was that errand I have to run, and like your brain just kind of goes all over the place. So you really need to have a set time, which I'm very close to actually setting up like a day-to-day. What is it, Wednesday? Well, that means I got to do all of these things for the allies, and so you have to be more dedicated, because if you have an office, if you have work, a place to work, you go to that place, you sit in that chair, and unless you're like hiding the fact that you're not working from your boss, you're like, well, I'm here, I might as well work. So it's much easier to adapt to a work schedule than it is at home. So yeah, those are the pros and cons. As far as setting stuff up in here, I had this room previously set up for playing lots of video games, so the video game stuff was fine. It was a little frustrating waiting for equipment. It's always frustrating when you get like 9 pieces of something and then that one piece you don't have. So it's like, well, why do I even have these 9 other pieces if I don't have the final thing? So waiting on equipment was a little frustrating the last couple weeks, but a lot of the pieces are finally coming together and it's very exciting. Danny wonders, it would be really great if we could easily download videos for offline viewing on mobile. Is that something you're looking at doing? Yeah, I would say we're looking at doing that. That's tricky because that would involve a website like we had before. We are working on our website right now. It is not going to be like the website we have before. You will not be able to download video files. In order to do that, we would have to upload them to a server that you would be able to download from, and that sounds a lot like the old site that we have, and we're not really eager to set up that old site. So Downloading videos and watching them on mobile. Sounds like something you should be able to do. We'll look into that. But if that means setting up a website like the site that you're familiar with, that probably will not happen. Garrett asks, any chance Easy Allies can do a live show like how Kinda Funny has done, where they get to meet fans from all over the world? Garrett? That's a great idea. We built our PC. Our PC is built. Thank you, patrons, for our PC. It's sitting right over there. We have yet to, we've run a couple streams from them. We haven't done our group stream on the PC yet. So this Tuesday, if you tune in, and that'll be our first stream, it probably won't look any different because it's the PC that's running it, which won't be on camera. But it's there and it's built and it's awesome and it's exciting. We have you to thank for it. Huber's new show. Are you following? Are you with me? Huber's new show is not called Huber's Q. It's not called Hype. It's called Huber Syndrome, which sounds like something the Umbrella Corporation would like give everybody. Oh, I got Huber Syndrome. That is what the show is called at the moment. The show has been shot. He shot an episode. Don Casanova is working on cutting it right now. Whether it will be called Huber Syndrome by the time you actually watch it, I don't know. I just report to you what I'm told. I was told it was called Huber's Q. I was told it was called Hype. I am now told it is called Huber Syndrome. And hopefully we will give you another update on that soon that does not involve a different name. The second podcast will now be known as Frame Trap. For now. I believe it'll be called Frame Trap. Ben Moore's a little consistent with the names there. Huber, not so much, but Ben is. This is Ben's second podcast, hosted by Ben Moore, has a rotating cast of allies. It is on camera. It was shot at Ben Moore's apartment. We are working on cutting the first episode right now. You should get it very, very shortly, so look out for that. Damiani posted an update on the D-Files if you missed it. You can see it above this post on Patreon. Some fun partnerships are involved in the D-Files. More info on that, but we're working with some fun people that are helping us get that show produced. So thank you to those people if you know who you are, and hopefully we will be able to talk to you about that very soon. If you qualify to sit in on our monthly Q&A, you can put that in your calendar. We're going to be hosting that via Hangouts on Air on Saturday, April 30th at 12 p.m. PT. That is the Easy Allies monthly Q&A with our patrons, hosting on Hangouts on Air Saturday, April 30th at 12 noon Pacific time. That'll be the first time we've done it, so hopefully all smooth sailing for that first episode, but if not, it is the first time we've done it. So if you qualify, check us out at that time. I hope you are available, and hopefully you'll have some awesome questions that we can ask. I am playing Pokemon Red. I just started my first Pokemon game ever, Pokemon Red. Between Red and Blue, I picked Red for the Easy Allies Red. And I will be talking with Kyle Bossman about my adventures in the world of Pokemon for the first time next Tuesday when we shoot our podcast. So look forward to that editorial coming soon. And finally, I want to wrap something up before I get into editorial and explain to you guys what our $50,000 milestone means. So we put a new studio at our $50,000 milestone goal, which, at the time we didn't think we would hit 20,000, let alone 30,000, let alone 50,000. So I did work out the particulars in my head about what that $50,000 goal meant, and essentially why there is no milestone between 30,000 and 50,000. Doesn't mean we aren't still considering that $40,000 milestone, especially because we're getting very, very close to it. Thank you, patrons. But what 50,000 means is you'll basically say goodbye to this garage for the most part. I will continue to shoot in this garage. I'll stream from this garage, but our podcast will not be shot in this garage anymore. Most likely our second podcast will not be shot at Ben's apartment anymore. Tabletop Adventures will not be shot here anymore. Anything that we need to all get together and shoot, any streams that people do not want to do in their own house, anything that basically needs to be that people want to produce in the official Easy Allies forum will be done on a stage. Will mean we will have a studio where we go to shoot shows. What this doesn't mean, and I apologize if this was communicated poorly, this does not mean that at $50,000 all of us will be able to work for Easy Allies full-time. It means Easy Allies will be full-time. It means Easy Allies will be producing content full-time. It'll mean likely that, maybe not right away, but someone will be in that office full-time. Somebody will be answering phones, somebody will be checking our mail all the time. So basically means Easy Allies as a production group will be full-time, but not every single member will be full-time. Every member won't be full-time because, first and foremost, people will have jobs. Some of us will not do something that is directly competing with Easy Allies, but just to do something else to help, make ends meet. And because, one of us is working on another project, that means that they can't devote, as much time as they could before when they were working full-time for GT. So again, anytime you say full-time, you throw that around, things get really confusing. So meant to stress that Easy Allies would be full-time, not every single person that works for Easy Allies. So if we hit that $50,000 goal, you will see hopefully something close to GT Live come back. I really enjoyed working on that show. It won't obviously be on the same set. It won't have the same setup. Building a stage from the ground up is not something that we ourselves have done as allies. That's something that, Viacom or Defy Media really took charge of in the past. So lots of fun opportunities. Obviously, if we hit that $50,000 goal, we will bring all of you into that process. We will show you, here's what we want for our set. Here's us building everything from the ground up. We want your take on it. So that's basically what that means. If that is still unclear, then let me know in the comments, and I will help clarify what that $50,000 goal is. And also that it's tough to establish a $40,000 goal because I can't just take that money that was going to go into a studio and just spend it on something else and still have money for the studio. So I don't want to bump that $50,000 goal up to $60,000. I want our $40,000 goal to be something that we can deliver. So we have ideas. It's just it's tough to finalize it. It's tough to be like, yeah, it sounds good. Let's just tell our patrons we're going to do that. We have to cross our T's, dot our I's, make sure that makes sound, logical, and financial sense before we make promises to you guys. So hopefully that's a little more clear. Let's get into editorial. So I had a wonderful thing happen this morning, actually. I had Patreon call me, and I was interviewed for a blog that is coming to Patreon about the Allies. I talked to a representative at Patreon and chatted about the story of the Allies and how we met and how we all got together and how we were able to launch a successful Patreon. And it got me thinking about expectations. And one of the questions that was asked of me was, what is one of the most difficult things in setting up Easy Allies? And I think one of the most difficult things was dealing with expectations, dealing with the fact that I knew you guys were going to have really high expectations of us because we had high expectations of ourselves. We really wanted our videos to be good. We really didn't want to post something that we wouldn't have enjoyed ourselves, as people, as consumers of video game media. And so, making promises and telling you guys, okay, well, you've never given us money directly before, but now you're gonna, and now we're gonna take that money and we're gonna do something else. Always nervous doing something for the first time, terrifying. And so setting up those expectations for you guys and putting a list of things that we were going to do without actually having done them was absolutely terrifying. I didn't want to say that right out of the gate. I don't want to make any of you nervous that we are not capable in producing all that we have said we are going to produce. We are capable, and we're very much looking forward to doing it, but still terrifying, still completely scary that we might not deliver what you guys want. And I think, that's something that you can never really feel the full weight of until you understand, what it's like to play towards someone's expectations, because there's no way you're going to get somebody excited without playing to their expectations. So basically the formula for hype is expectations versus reality. What I think that reality will be, what I want that reality to be, and how close those two things are. Basically the difference in between those two things is hype. If I think something is even better than you think it's going to be, then I'm more hyped for that than you are. Not to reduce all of hypeness to a simple equation, but I can much more. It's much easier for me to sympathize with people that have to make a huge announcement. Which working at Game Trailers for so many years was something that I was totally obsessed with. All of the coverage that I did on trailers, all of the conversations that we had about conventions and about big announcements and debuts and leaks and stuff like that, was because of just how completely fascinated I am about expectations, about hype, about how you can get excited, how you can get people excited for something that you're doing, and then ultimately deliver upon that excitement, and basically studying those people like a Blizzard or a Rockstar that are just so good at keeping their fans just always happy, almost always happy. And when it goes right, when you have a campaign, whether it's for a movie or a TV show or a film or a book or a Patreon, that starts out exciting, launches exciting, continues to be exciting and ends exciting, I think that's really worth looking at and figuring out what happened there. Why were they able to keep everyone's interest the entire time? Because you can't do that off of the same information. You can't just keep saying the same thing over and over and over and expect that to make people happy. You gotta dodge and weave based on what people's expectations are. And so I know this is kind of a wishy-washy editorial segment, but if I'm not really making very pointed, opinions about things and really saying any things that are controversial, I really want to take this opportunity to let you guys know really how I feel, how we feel, and that, we want to be confident. We want you guys to think, like I mentioned before, that we're capable to do, what we said we were going to do. But at the same time, expectations are heavy. We want you guys to have expectations. We want you guys, like for example, you guys have mentioned the countdown. We just talked about it earlier. You guys want countdown? We used to do countdown. We're not doing it anymore. It kills me to say like we're just not doing it. Sorry, we don't have time. Because you guys have expectations. You guys know who we were. You guys can see where we are now. From your perspective, it could seem easy for us to do countdown. So why aren't they doing it? That's the expectation that I have. They haven't met that. I am lowering my subscription. I am not subscribing anymore. It's scary. It's scary not to do Let's All Go to the Trailers or Trailer Score. It's scary not to do Just Played. It's scary not to do our Game of Thrones show that we used to do before. It's scary to stop doing something and start doing something else. It's scary to take people's suggestions and listen to them, but not make decisions based on them. Not say, they want that show, therefore we should do it. But really stick to your guns and realize it doesn't make sense. It would hurt the other things that we're doing to do that. And so maybe this is a good thing for me to bring up now on the third episode of Cup of Jones, because this does relate so much to this show and to what we're doing right now, to this hopefully open line of dialogue that we have, where you can ask me questions, you can hopefully get honest answers as quickly as I can get them to you, and we can hopefully we can try to figure out that line together. Your expectations are over here, what we're capable of delivering is over here, and in between is Easy Allies. That's where we are at right now, and that's where we will be every Monday for Cup of Jones. So that is our editorial this week. Thank you again for being subscribers. We continue to be one of the biggest Patreons ever. One of the biggest Patreons in operation right now. That is absolutely incredible. There are more shows coming that we are very excited about that you have not seen yet. So hopefully tune in. Hopefully more stuff is coming. And hopefully I will see you next Monday for another Cup of Jones. Take care, everybody.